I bet we have something in common. We're both always trying to improve as teachers. So I love being a science teacher. I think it's the best job in the world, but I want to make sure that I'm always doing the best for my students. So I've read many books, attended all these professional development trainings throughout all the years I've been teaching. So today I am sharing 3 books that have transformed the way that I teach and build my classroom community. All right, aloha friends. I am Fleur, the face of Aloha Monday Teaching. I help middle school science teachers be intentional, prepared, and refreshed for Mondays and any day. I provide strategies, resources, and encouragement. There we go. So don't miss a thing. Be sure that you like and subscribe to this video and to the channel, Aloha Monday Teaching. That way you don't miss out on anything. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram just for random posts and tips. I'm at Aloha Monday Teaching. And you can also get your free guide. This is on my website. You can go to fleurstrongoli.com/daily. It's the guide for 5 daily must-do routines to run your science classroom like a pro. These are things that you can implement any time of year, refresh and all of that stuff. All right. So today we are talking about 3 fantastic books that I've read to improve as a teacher. These books have transformed the way that I teach and how I create my classroom community. So these are my top 3 books that have helped me. These 2, Uncommon Sense Teaching and Boys and Girls Learn Differently, are all about the brain, how the brain learns. I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. You might be too. So that would be really some good reads, and I'll go over those. And when building a classroom community, I like the Morning Meeting book from Responsive Classroom. And classroom community, as you know, is imperative in classroom management. So I will discuss how that has helped me throughout the years. I've linked the blog post in the description, and I'm also, I've got the links to these books in the description as well. And there's also a free Audible trial. There's a link in the description so that you can get a free book if you haven't tried Audible yet. These books are available there. All right. So I had the most fantastic opportunity and attended a whole day seminar by the Gurian Institute. I link them below. They offer a lot of professional development and things. So this seminar was all about neuroscience and how the brains of males and females are different. They showed us brain scans of male and female brains that were at rest or involved in cognitive tasks, things like that. So it was really interesting because we got to see how different parts of the brains are activated in a male brain and in a female brain. And that as teachers can help us reach our kids in the classroom. We know what's going on in their brains. So I bought this book and I read it. It's Boys and Girls Learn Differently by Dr. Michael Gurian. And so it's set up really cool. So the first 2 chapters are all about how the brain learns. It tells you all about the different parts of the brain, the chemical, all that stuff, like hormones, all of those things. It gives you all that information. It shows us the advantages and challenges for the male brain and the female brain in schools. And the point basically is that schools tend to teach more to the female brain rather than the male brain. So this will help us as teachers reach our girls and our boys' brains to help them learn. The rest of the book shows how to set up the ultimate classroom in elementary, middle, and high school. So I skipped over to the middle school section and read about that. So they give a lot of strategies and research that's based behind them, like the reasons based behind them. So some of my favorites included seating arrangements, which I tried in my class. So normally I like to as best as I can do, have 2 boys, 2 girls in a group. But I tried all boys, all girl groups because they like to work with their friends and their same gender, that kind of thing. And the book mentions that it is a good strategy to try. So it works pretty well. But it also works especially well when they know that I can move them at any given moment. So they tend to be more on task and more engaged in their group work. At the end of the book, there is a study guide. So this could be a great book study for your teachers. There's even a section for parents, which would be kind of cool to show parents all about this book too, so they can also see what's going on in their child's brain. So the book and the seminar that's helped me mainly with behavior in my classroom, especially with my boys, because our boys are really active and everything. So I'm aware of their brains and how to really help them succeed in class. And I'm also aware of boys and girls' brains and how their learning and behaviors are different, and I can reach them that way. And a bonus book, I don't have a picture of it, but I have a link in the description. Strategies for Teaching Boys and Girls Secondary Level. This is also by Dr. Gurian and their people. So this gives you the specific ideas and strategies for each subject area. So it's really helpful when you are lesson planning. Okay, this is a fun and easy read, and you can learn ways to improve teaching methods. Uncommon Sense Teaching. This is probably one of my favorite brain books that I've read. It goes deep into, see, I have it at home. This stays with me at all times. This book goes deep into how the brain learns while giving us easy to understand analogies, because teachers, most likely, we are not neuroscientists. Like, we might be interested in this stuff, but some of it doesn't make sense. So this book really helps with that. During and at the end of each chapter, there are practice activities that you can do to implement in your classroom. And there's just a lot of tips and strategies to help us with, to use to help our students learn more, to grow those neural links, move information into the long-term memory, which is our goal in teaching, right? So the very first chapter is all about building memory and the strategies shared. This is what I've started doing in my classroom daily to recall. So you probably already do this too, but now you'll know why to do it more often. So students recall what they learn, which will link neurons to strengthen them, eventually creating those neural links in long-term memory with more practice, the right practice. So in my classroom, what I have kids do is write down a quick summary of what they learned, or they talk about it with their partner or both. And I do that every day. This is also something I encourage them to do at home to help them learn how to study, which is a totally different topic, right? How to teach them how to study. So I could share everything in this book with you today, but I want you to read it for yourself. So the book covers so much more, including procrastination and motivation, classroom community and collaboration, lesson planning. It even has a chapter for online teaching for those of you that are still online. So this is definitely a must read to transform the way you teach and help your students learn. And then I also have a blog post linked in the description below, and I'll have a video for that eventually, but I just share more about engaging your students and their brains in the blog post. It's called 3 Important Steps to Engage Students in Lessons. And I shared a lot of the strategies that I've learned with these books. All right, so now let's move away from the brain stuff and reaching our kids to learn, and we're going to go how to build community in the classroom. I love the responsive classroom and their books. Like, my next book on my list to read is The Power of Our Words, but this book is the morning meeting book. And I have used this in elementary school when I taught there, and I was able to build a positive and safe classroom environment with those classes with my students through our morning meetings. So there's 4 parts to a morning meeting. There's the greeting, sharing, an activity, and message and announcements. So when I moved to middle school, I had to figure out how to incorporate the morning meeting because I really enjoy it, and the kids do too. So there is a chapter just for middle schoolers, which is really helpful. So they don't call it a morning meeting in middle school. They call it the Circle of Power and Respect. And what they suggest is that you hold one in your advisory type of class, like 3 times a week minimum, which is really not feasible for most of us, right? So I tried it a different ways. So I've tried it with my advisory class once a week, and I'm not too fond of that one. I'd rather do this with all my classes regularly. So I've done it with modifications. I've tried it once a week on our shorter days so that it just takes up the whole class period and they really enjoy that. And I've also tried it at the very beginning of like 2 to 3 classes a week where it takes up maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And I do that. So here's just a couple of ways that I have done it. So as bell work, I put my message, I put it on like the whiteboard or on a chart paper, and then students respond as part of their bell work when they come in. We either get into a circle with our desks or we just stand in a circle. Sometimes we'll just stay at our seats, but the goal is to be able to see each other. We greet each other, say good morning, and we use, or afternoon, and use their name, and then they have to say good morning or afternoon back using their name. Sometimes we'll do like a fist bump. We used to do high fives, but those days are gone. Or shake hands. And then we share. So you can choose something that you want them to share. They can share about their weekends, like whatever your topic is, if they choose. Activity is, I do short activities. It's team building. I like to relate it to content. I just like to do that so that I'm using my time wisely, but you can do fun things too. And then we go over the message. We go over any announcements and then directions that transition us right into what we're doing next. And that way it just kind of it flows into the classroom routine. So those are some ways that I have done it in middle school. All right. So for your turn, you can comment below about what books have helped you improve as a teacher. And if you haven't read these books that I shared yet, I challenge you to read at least one of them. Apply those strategies to your classroom and see how it changes things. So where am I? There I am. Okay, so I love these 3 books that I've shared with you today. They've really helped the way that I teach, how I build the community in my classroom. So remember, Boys and Girls Learn Differently and Uncommon Sense Teaching go over the brain and how it learns, which will help you with some of your teaching strategies. And the Morning Meeting book will address the needs for establishing and maintaining a positive classroom environment, which is important for like our social emotional learning. And in middle school, they call it Circle of Power and Respect. So that's it for the 3 books that I wanted to share with you that will help improve your teaching. So just remember before you go that you like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything. I'm uploading videos regularly, and go to fleurstrongoli.com/daily to get your 5 daily must-do routines to run your classroom like a pro, because that will help you anytime. All right, I will talk to you soon. Aloha.